Hi guys, thanks for tuning into the Scan Tool Network. We're taking a closer look at the iCarsoft LR version 3.0. We're going to be looking at the screens that you'll actually see, what it can do, what it can't do, the vehicle coverage, the system coverage and things like that. And basically, you know, all of the service functions, and by the end of the video, hopefully you'll be able to work out whether this tool is going to be suitable for you, your vehicle and your specific needs within that vehicle. If you are interested in this tool, I'd highly recommend using the link in the description below this video. It's www.diagnostic-world.com, but that is where you'll pick up the genuine and official product. There are fakes, there are clones on the market, they can damage your vehicle, so it's just not worth going down that route, okay? So what we'll do first of all is we'll just sort of show you an overview of the screens, and then you get an idea of the tool and what it's capable of, okay? We're in a Discovery 3, by the way. I think it's a 2007 Land Rover Discovery 3. It does have a check engine light on right now. That is because we haven't got the seatbelt on, and that is because we've got the parking brake deployed. That is because we are low on diesel, so we do need to fill up. But what we'll do is we'll click into diagnostics first of all, okay? And you can see it covers Land Rover and Jaguar, okay? So we're just going to select the Land Rover option. And there are two ways you can find your vehicle. You can either click on VIN Identify or Vehicle Select. I'll show you both ways, but for now we'll just go Vehicle Select. And this just gives you a little bit of an idea of the vehicles that it covers for Land Rover. So it's Defender, Discovery, in fact I'll just do that, Defender, Discovery. I think there's an update as well which will do newer vehicles. Discovery Sport, Freelander, Range Rover. Oops, Range Rover Sport, Range Rover Evoque, Evoque Convertible, Evoque in China, and Range Rover Velar, okay? But we're in a Discovery right now, so it's a Discovery 3, so we're just going to select that. It's a diesel V6 engine, so the engine is on. What it's doing, it's automatically reading the VIN code, so it's found the vehicle, and we'll click OK to that. So then we come into this screen, and the first two really just allow the tool to do a full sweep of the vehicle, to find out which systems are installed and then do a scan of them to find faults in those particular systems. What we can do also is what we're going to do here is click on Control Unit. Now you can see here it says 1 of 27, okay? So depending on what vehicle you're in will depend on what you see right here, because obviously newer vehicles have a lot more systems installed into them, so you might see like a list of 45 or 50 if you're in a 2018 Velar or something like that. So I'll just show you briefly the type of systems that it will cover, and this vehicle itself is actually riddled with faults, and I'll show you that in a moment. So that's just an example, you know, it's going to, whatever vehicle that you're in, or you can assume that it's going to cover all of those systems in that vehicle, okay? So we're going to click on the engine control module, because we've got a check engine light. And when I've done that, it's clicked on HDC fault. Don't worry about that too much, but that is in keeping with what this vehicle will do, because it's just one of the worst vehicles I've ever come across for lighting up dashboard warnings. So that is why having one of these tools is absolutely necessary if you're an owner. In any case, we'll go on to read fault code. Just click no to that. Okay, so it's got 1 of 7 faults. Now, invalid data received from vehicle dynamics control module, intermittent turbocharger, lost communication with ABS, and a few others as well. Now, what I would generally say is, if you have got a fault, because these engines and these vehicles, they are prone to storing lots of fault codes on the ECU without actually having a genuine or real sort of big enough fault to actually go ahead and fix it. So before you fixed any faults, my advice would be to just clear all the faults, and then you can read the codes again, and that will tell you what you are genuinely left with. Okay, so you might have 7 here. If you clear it before doing anything, you might come back with 2 faults, and that's going to nail it down to where your specific fault is. The rest of the faults will probably have just been historic faults, okay? So We knew there was a problem with the I think it's is it the MAF sensor? Yeah, the mass airflow sensor. So a new mass airflow sensor was put in, but obviously the codes are still here. The check engine light is still there. But what we can do is we go to clear fault memory. I'll show you this, and just keep an eye on the check engine light when I do this. There we go, it's gone off straight away there. Okay, our raise operation done. So you can go back in and read fault codes. It's now telling us there are no faults at all in the engine system. So it just shows you that the other faults were historic faults, and the fault we cleared was obviously the one relating to the mass airflow sensor and the check engine light. Okay, we do obviously still have a few other faults on there as well. So I'm just going to go through. It was about a day or two ago when we had a transmission fault popping up, but then it seems to have gone off on its own. So while I'm here, I'm just going to go into the transmission module, see if it gives us anything. Yeah, so it's telling us 1 of 5. Again, that's a vehicle speed sensor. That should really be relating to the ABS. Lost communication with the instrument cluster. That is true, because we did lose this cluster is intermittently going on and off, and that is another characteristic of these Discovery 3s. They can fail and then come back on just completely randomly. I've had it completely out, couldn't find any faults or anything like that. You can send them away to be repaired, but I wouldn't be surprised if at some point during this video that screen just completely goes dead, but we'll see. While I'm here, I'll clear fault memory and then read fault codes. Nothing there at all. Okay, so what else was I gonna have a look at? Vehicle dynamics module. Again, 3 fault codes there. Lost communication with parking brake. Clear fault memory. Erase operation done. Go back into read faults. There's no faults there. Okay, so that is just an example of the type of faults you can sort of look for on this kit. What I'll do now is I'll show you the service menu. So these are like special functions whereby these functions will usually be seen by the garage, or functions that will be carried out by the garage or the workshops. This tool puts the power in your hands really, so it allows you to do oil service resets, electronic park and brake resets, battery registrations, electronic throttle calibrations, steering angle sensor calibrations, DPF reset and regeneration, ABS brake bleeding, injector coding, TPMS, suspension calibration, air conditioning, headlamp, and a few others as well. Now, don't just assume that these functions are available for all of those vehicles. These functions will be available to some vehicles. Okay, so what you can do is you could just contact like these guys here who will tell you whether a certain function is compatible with your vehicle or not. A good way of doing it when you've got the kit is just by going back in to select your vehicle again. This doesn't work on all. This time we'll click on VIN identify. This doesn't work on all vehicles, but we'll see if it works on this one. Okay to that. Okay, so then from this menu again we'll go down to the service option, and then this gives you a list of things that can be done to this particular vehicle. Now again, I'm not entirely sure that is correct information here, because this vehicle, for example, doesn't have DPF fitted, so it's telling us that it can access the DPF in this vehicle. So don't take this as gospel either, to be honest with you, but you can generally assume that it will cover these special service functions if your vehicle is fitted with it. Okay, I guess some of these vehicles do have the DPF fitted, so it's maybe going off that sort of information. Okay, let's have a look. What else have we got? We can look at live data as well. I'll show you some live engine data. Oh, it's not a Sport, it's a Discovery. So if we go into the engine, again, control unit, and then we go down to view data, you can see it'll give you like 62 types of live data for this particular vehicle. So if we go F2 all, F1 done. So again, depending on the vehicle will depend on what you see there and the types of live data that it will actually give you. but it gives you lots of percentages, it gives you lots of values, temperatures, RPMs. You can see, for example, RPM. So if I put my foot on the accelerator, just watch this fluctuate as the RPM needle goes up as well. Okay, so it's giving you exact live data from the vehicle exactly as it's happening there and then. I'm just scrolling through here, and again, like I say, lots of different values depending on what vehicle you're in. Okay, so just trying to, it does like actuation tests as well. So if we go to, let's trying to think somewhere, body control module. So what you can do is you can test certain like switches and motors. So if you wanted to test something, I'm trying to find something that we could test here. Heated. Power door glass window system. These are all things you can test. I'm just not finding something. Passenger. So all doors. Let's have a look at that. So it's turning them on and off. I can't really find anything in particular, but I do know that it does do like actuation tests, or it can test certain systems. See, like ride level control module. This is another one that we can look at. Fault codes. Again, we've got lots of faults in that system. Clear fault memory. Do actuation tests in this one as well. Exhaust valve. So there's lots of things that I mean I need to go through myself. Instrument cluster, this might be an interesting one actually, because it'll probably give us like communication fault. There we go, 1 of 11. These are all like communication faults. Raise operation done. Let's do actuation tests on this one. Warning lamps. Just wondering. Warning lamps for the ABS. Now I think I probably need to look into that a little bit further detail, but transmission wise, you can get data on this. You can get your live data for the temperatures if you wanted to find the temperature if you're doing a change in the transmission oil. Whereas of course now I've said that, it's going to be difficult to find. Transmission oil temperature, F1, there we go. No, select that, F1 done, there we go. So it's giving us transmission oil temperature. Lots of different live data within different sections of the vehicle, but it all really depends on what vehicle you're in, what sort of service function or what fault codes you're looking to read. It does all of the main systems like engines, airbags, ABS, transmission, or whatever else you're looking at. It'll do for you. But what I'll do is I'll just pop the link again, as I say, in the description below this video. There are fakes, there are clones out there. They can damage your vehicle, so it's really not worth going down that route. Make sure you use the genuine tool as shown in the link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I hope it helps.